Has the world gone insane? That is a question that has me wondering. Hello, my name is Todd. I want to thank you for tuning into the Teal Jack channel. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch one of my videos. And what I'm discussing today are some incidences that have happened, at least within the United States, that I'm aware of, and I'm sure there are plenty other similar worldwide. And one of those is this push by Black Lives Matter and the people that support them to, should we say, get rid of the monuments within our country. From Christopher Columbus to even the president who set the black slaves free, Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, they're tearing down monuments right and left. Although, I don't fully support some of the monuments that are up because of their Confederate roots, or they were slave owners themselves within the Confederacy, and that they fought against the Union, seceded from the Union, and waged war. Yeah, I'm not fully supportive of those, but it's part of our history. And tearing down the statues and monuments that gave honor to those men who the people who erected them felt was necessary to do, because if there's one thing that we can say is those guys fought a war on what they thought was right. Even if they were on the wrong side of the matter, they thought it was right. And, ripping down those monuments is not going to erase what happened in our past. And I feel like that this push to erase our past is just going to invite these events to take place in the future. And to some degree, you can see this taking place in the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ. I guess they don't like that name, so now they've changed to CHOP, whatever that means. And you can see the insanity that's taken place in that community that basically stole property from property owners. And where's the outcry on that? They're outcrying over Christopher Columbus came here and stole all the land from the natives. Yet they're doing the very same thing. These people who are also against a border wall to keep out illegal immigrants, first thing they did is establish themselves a border wall. These people have been outspoken about gun violence, and we need to end the gun violence, and we need to get rid of guns in the Second Amendment. And yet the first thing they did is arm themselves for protection. The list goes on the hypocrisy that is taking place on the left. And one that was extremely disturbing, and I'll try and locate the story and leave you a link. But this was a man who went out on a fishing trip, and he wore a t-shirt that said One American News Network, or OAN. And he's being threatened with the loss of his job or lost his job. Why? Because he chose to wear a t-shirt. A t-shirt of a conservative news outlet. A news outlet that I would say that actually presents you facts and not opinion. Although they do give some opinion, and that's kind of hard not to do. But they are at least presenting you the facts. And so he's being ostracized because he chose to wear that t-shirt. I ran across a tweet of a principal, I believe back east. The tweet was very benign about Black Lives Matter. She didn't come out against it. She wasn't hard on it. But her school superintendent said that her tweet was racist, and they fired her. What is happening with our country where you're not even allowed to speak your mind? For instance, I speak out against Black Lives Matter. I don't support that group at all. Yet I'm being told I'm a racist. Why? Because I don't support their ideology? It's mind-boggling. And then to see companies being jumping on board this Black Lives Matters movement. Johnson & Johnson being one of them. If so many of their products weren't used in our everyday lives, I would absolutely do what I can to boycott them. Because why? They donated money to Black Lives Matter, a group that I consider a domestic terrorist organization. Because if you don't jump on board their ideology, they hate you, they belittle you, and they make you a lesser person because you don't agree with them. Because I don't agree with this systematic racism in our country, albeit I agree there's racism in our country. But I would point out that from what I'm seeing, the vast majority of the racism in this country is coming from the Black Lives Matter group and their supporters who hate me because I'm white. It's insane. Like my skin color has something to do with who I am as a person. They don't want to look at my character and my history of friendship with people who don't look like me. It's absolutely insane. But that's what happens when we have a fallen world. A world that turns its back on the biblical teachings and turns its back on the message of Jesus Christ. I'm hated because I say all lives matter. And part of my troubles with Black Lives Matter is that title, Black Lives Matter. It makes it sound like the only life that matters in this world is a black life. And I struggle with it because I'm seeing such utter racism coming from that group. And it's disgusting. I'm not an advocate for the racism that our country has had in the past and a supporter of it. But what I am saying is we shouldn't erase our history as if it never happened. Because when we forget about our history, then we're destined to repeat it. And I find it interesting how in Chaz, they've established segregation. Something you would hear the left is constantly screaming about, that we need more diversity. Yet what I really believe we are seeing is the bottom line of the Democratic Party. And that's they were the party of segregation. They were the party of racism. They were the party of slavery. And I don't believe they've actually changed. And we're seeing in this small case up in Seattle what ultimately the left believes. They want segregation. They believe in racism. Should I say fascism to a degree? And they're definite socialists because they want everything free and given to them. They run out of food and they're crying for food. They don't want you to come into their community, but they want you to give food to their community. They got no place to do their squat, their daily business, so they cry for the city. And what's the city do? Caves in and sends them in toilets. Insanity. I don't understand this. I don't know if I will understand this and what's going on in our country. In many ways, I see it sick. And then to run across a story this morning of, I wish I could remember Trump's press secretary, Kayleigh something rather, I think is her name. But she apparently over 8 years ago put a tweet out that said she loves Domino's over New York pizza. To a degree, I'd agree with her, but that's neither here nor there. So Domino's responds, hey, thank you for the compliment. And now we got people wanting to ban Domino's. They're boycotting Domino's because they believe by saying thank you for the compliment that Domino's is now jumping ship. Their thought is that Domino's is now supporting the Trump administration. And what would be a problem with a corporation wanting to do that? What's the big deal? He's done a lot for this country, made a lot of benefits to this country, has improved this country over what I would call the unruly reign of the previous president, who, I won't even say his name, who thought he could legislate from his bench with his cell phone in his hand and his pen. And he did, violating U.S. law, DACA being one of those. But that's a story for a different time. It's this punishing of a company by people solely because of a thank you statement is insane. They didn't come out and say Donald Trump's the best president in the world. I agree if that's the case. But to boycott them because they said thank you for the compliment, it's ridiculous. The left has literally lost its mind. I believe they are going insane. But I believe this insanity has a purpose. And this purpose is to gain power and to take control. And they're doing the start by getting rid of the monuments, trying to erase history so they can recreate America in their own image and not the image the founding fathers had for us. And that's scary. That's scary that this group is gaining such political power on what in effect is hatred, lies, and racism. And I just wish more people would wake up to it. I wish people would actually wake up to what they are saying and what this group is standing for and resist it at all costs. Are Black lives important? Yes, but every life is important. The Bible even shows that. Every life is precious. That includes the unborn. I saw a video that my wife showed to me the other day of a Black gal discussing, or should I say, eliminating the idea of a group of people standing on the street because she was countering the narrative of Black Lives Matter. An incredible video. I will try and put a link to that video below because this is at least a gal who can think. And yes, I am saying that I think a lot of people jumping on Black Lives Matter are not thinking. They're drumped on emotion. They're drumped on this false narrative that the police are bad and that there's systematic racism in our country, when there's not. Is there racism in our country? Yes, I think there is on both sides, and I'm not going to deny that. Wherever there is people, there's always going to be a sin problem. Wherever there is people, there's going to be a heart problem. And no matter how much you think your life is geared towards Jesus and living out the text, you yourself, including me, can have a certain amount of racism in our thoughts and in our mind. And it's something we have to check regularly. It's a heart problem and it's a sin problem. I don't believe I have a racist bone in my body because I look at the person's character. And because I disagree with somebody on what they say or what they stand for does not make me a racist by any way, shape, or form, nor does it the next person. And what is troubling on this Black Lives Matter movement is they are literally squashing free speech, something this country was founded on. The free speech of this country is what's giving them the right to have the ideas and opinions that they're holding. But they don't want me to have mine, and they want to damage me and anyone else who dares to think otherwise, to the point of losing their jobs, to maybe even bodily harm, to having our property destroyed and our goods stolen. They feel that's justified because why? We dare to have an opinion other than the one they are pitching. They don't want discussion in this country. They want this country to be molded and shaped to what they want. And what's crazy is the media is backing it. They're seeing this movement as being good for America, and it's not. It's dividing America. It's splitting America. It's destroying America. And what's next? Where is their next step? When are they going to stop? Maybe the decline of America is what we were seeing take place. When I read through the book of Revelation, I clearly see that America is not in it. And I've honestly have believed for many years, decades, that the end times come and America will no longer be a nation. Because one guy will rise up and rule the world. It's foretold. Just read the book of Revelation. This Antichrist will rise up. He will reign. He will have power. And America won't be there. And maybe this is the start to that. I hope it's not. Because I fear for my children's future. But at the same time, I have faith and hope. Because if there's one thing I know is God is still sovereign even over this chaos. And he can use even this chaos for his cause and his reason that can be good. How do I know that? Because we saw it after World War II. What did the Nazis do? Killed out and murdered massive amounts of Jews. But God used that to group that group of people back together. And what happens? They reestablished themselves in their own country once more. They were gathered from various regions of our world, and they all went to what is now Israel. And they became a nation once more. So God can use a tragedy to bring about a good. And I believe the state of Israel is good for this world. Those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think. Put your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for taking time out of your day to watch one of my videos. And remember, it's not a race issue. It's a heart issue. It's a character issue. Judge me by my character, not the color of my skin, and I'll do the same for you. Take care. We'll talk to you next time. God bless. Hi, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch one of my videos. Please hit the like button below, and if you would, hit the subscribe link up here, and take some time to watch one of my other videos. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day. God bless, and take care of yourself.